Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Jessica Soul. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Pretty good. So for those who are new to you and your music, do you want to give maybe a little introduction about yourself and kind of what you do best?
Yeah, my name's Jessica Soul. I'm a country artist from small town Ontario, Canada. I moved up to Shelburne, Ontario last year with my husband, and I've been putting out music. I've been writing a lot. I've got a new single out called Good and Goodbye, so that's what I've been up to these days.
And that's actually the main reason we're here to talk today is actually about your new single.
Yay.
So let's get started though with early music. What kind of got you into doing music?
I actually grew up in a musical family. My dad's a drummer and he owns a drum store in Toronto. So I've always been around music. I grew up doing choirs and I got my vocal degree from Humber back in 2020 actually. So I never really had a plan B. It was just always in my blood.
I mean, yeah, that's what you hear from someone usually who's really dedicated on music. It's just in your blood kind of thing.
Exactly. It's just never having a plan B kind of forces you to make it work.
Hmm. Did you have early inspirations of kind of when you were going through your music and learning different things about who you wanted to try to emulate a little bit?
Totally. I grew up listening to a lot of old Miranda Lambert and old Carrie Underwood and Taylor Swift, obviously. I taught myself every single Taylor Swift song on guitar when I was learning guitar back when I was maybe 12 or 13. So definitely draw a lot of inspiration from her and those really awesome women in country.
Yeah, there's those are definitely some big names to look up to for sure.
Totally.
Now, with the new single coming out, Good and Goodbye, can you give us a little bit of an idea of the story behind that?
Yeah, I actually wrote it about a friend of mine who was going through a breakup. She FaceTimed me one day and she was like, "Hey, I have some bad news." And I said, "Oh, what's going on?" And she goes, "The guy I was seeing broke up with me, but that's not the bad news." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And she goes, "He didn't make me hate him when he broke up with me. He gave me the good and goodbye. Like, he didn't cheat, he didn't lie, he didn't like break my heart into a million pieces." So that's where the idea came from. After she said that, I said, "Okay, one sec. I need to write this down because that's really good."
Hmm.
And then I brought the idea to a friend of mine, Elias James. He's an awesome writer, awesome artist, and we wrote the song. I'm pretty sure the day or two after I had the phone call with her.
Okay. Do you typically does your music typically come from personal experience or like general your bubble, or do you try to put together other things too?
I tend to pull a lot from my life and things that happen to me, whether that's directly or indirectly. Like Good and Goodbye is like I'm happily married. It's very indirect, like that one to me
Hmm.
personally. But I try and draw inspiration where I can, but it's typically from things that I experience.
Okay. And what's your process like when you're putting together music? Do you like, well, you with this one you had the kind of idea, went and sat and wrote, but is that a typical way that you put together music?
Yeah, usually I'll come into a write with a general idea of something I want to write about, or I have a title idea or like a few lines of maybe a chorus, and then usually the song will go from there. It's very lyrics based when I write.
Okay. And how has I mean, you've been doing this for a little bit now. How have you found that your process evolves over time? Like when you're trying new things out or you want to test out new ways to do things, do you see yourself evolving more?
Oh, for sure, yeah, especially over the last few years when I really got into co-writing. Co-writing is one of the things that helped me evolve as a writer a lot. Having somebody that's dedicated to the song you're writing with them and is somebody that you can bounce ideas off of during the writing process has been a game changer.
And I'm sure we probably got into a lot of that during COVID, like everybody else. There's not
Oh
much
yeah.
else to do but do co-writes and things like that.
Zoom writes were basically every single night of the week.
I mean, yeah, it keeps your mind going with that type of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So
Kept her busy.
with COVID kind of ending and live music and stuff, how has live music and everything been for you of late this summer?
Seeing the live music industry coming back, like so prominently the way it has this past summer has been amazing. I'm so glad that there are so many platforms and so many people that want to keep live music happening. And now that we're able to host concerts inside or festivals are able to happen again, things have been in full force. And that's just the coolest thing ever. I really missed live music.
Yeah, I know when I got out to my first show, I think it was actually I was covering Billy Talent, and it
Oh,
was
cool.
shocking. It was like, oh my God, this was so crazy to see again finally.
I know. We went to, I think the first concert we went to after COVID, it was Miranda Lambert in Little Big Town. They were in Toronto back at the beginning of the summer and it was like electric. It was so cool.
Hmm. Were you able to get out and perform yourself at all this summer?
Yeah, I did. I focused a lot on the new music we have coming out and Good and Goodbye coming out and all of that and a lot of like we did some music videos this past summer too. So I didn't play as many live shows as I did previously, but I still had some shows. Like I just played a festival called Wines of the World last week and that was so much fun. I got to bring out my full band and all of that and I played some local shows around the town too.
Okay. When you're working on a music video, is that I actually haven't got a chance to look at any of your videos, but do you like to put a whole story into it, or is it more of like a fun, let's go see what we can do type of thing?
Um, so it's kind of different every time. I work with a really great team called Roadhouse Productions in Toronto. They're based, I think, in Etobicoke. But we've done, actually, we just filmed a music video for Good and Goodbye yesterday. But
Okay.
we filmed three other ones on top of that. And a few of them are storyline based. One of them for In the Name of Tequila. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on there if you want after. It was super fun to film that. We filmed it in a bar, and it was basically just like party girl vibes the whole time.
I mean, those are fun too. It's
Yeah.
always just having that good time in it with a song, really.
Yes, exactly.
So with everything coming back live and everything, so what do you think the music scene is like and how it's evolved with after COVID now?
I feel like so many more people are willing to go out and support emerging acts when they have shows now that you can go out and see live music, which is so amazing because I know like starting out as an artist, it's always a little bit more tough to sell those live tickets and all of that, and to see the willingness of people trying to get out to see as many shows as they can has been so amazing.
Hmm. And from your perspective, what do you think it takes to stand out? I know a lot of the times with COVID and everything, people had a chance to work on 10 million more ideas and it saturated the industry a little bit. What do you think it takes to have a step above someone else?
I think it honestly just comes down to staying true to who you are and working on your projects and your craft as well as supporting the people around you as well as they're working on what like their projects too.
Yeah, definitely. If you're, in the community, it makes sense to try to be friends with people in the community and work within the community.
Yes, and honestly, I found that the country community, especially in Canada and Ontario, has such a wonderful community of supportive artists and supportive people that all kind of lift each other up, which is really really nice to see.
I actually get to talk to a lot of country artists, and the community around that is by far one of the best ones I think in Canada for sure for music.
It's like a family, honestly.
Yeah, everyone knows each other and it's like you can just go hang out and have a good time like a family barbecue almost.
No, exactly.
Is there any artists that are out there right now that you're excited to see what they're doing?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've got so many friends doing so many amazing things. Actually, Robin Ottolini dropped her new single today too, and it is so, so good. I'm so like proud to watch how her career's evolved over the last few years. It's been so, so cool.
Yeah, I was at the Boots and Hearts Festival this year and I got to see her live and she puts on a hell of a show for sure.
Oh my gosh, doesn't she? She knocked it out of the park at Boots. She was so good.
I have probably a whole folder of pictures I shot sitting on this computer somewhere.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
hmm is there a festival like Boots that you're really hoping to get on that stage one of these days?
You know what? Honestly, Boots would be a bucket list show for me. I would love to play that festival.
It's a pretty epic stage to be on for a country
Yeah,
artist, that's for sure.
it totally is. Yeah.
Especially like it's always crazy too because you never know what's going to happen. Like this past one, we almost got shut down at the end with the storm and
I
all kinds
saw
of
that.
stuff.
I didn't actually make it out to Boots this year, so I was following along on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and I was
Hmm.
getting texts from friends who were at Boots saying, "Shania might not go on, like we're getting a huge storm. I think they're gonna like cancel the show. They told us to evacuate." And I was like, that is like worst case scenario,
Oddly
especially for
enough,
something as
it's
massive
happened
Shania
twice
fan.
every year though. Every year that I've been there, it's happened.
Didn't it happen a few years ago when Keith Urban, or I think it was Keith Urban who was supposed to play, or maybe it was Luke
Yeah,
Bryan. It was one of them, I think. I
actually, yeah,
remember
it's one of
that
the
was the
two. Yeah,
first year I went. Yeah.
yeah. I know I was sitting in the media tent and the storm that just hit and flooded in places really quick, and
Oh,
it was kind of crazy. And I left my car windows down, so I out of
oh
my car that
no.
was drenched. But yeah,
That that's the worst.
well, and so I left that night also because I'm based in Ottawa, so I drove home that night with the wet car, so the
Oh,
windows were down the whole
perfect.
way, and
Oh, oh no.
it was an interesting drive for sure.
Yeah.
So I do have a few questions I like to ask everyone. It kind of gets a little more insight to kind of who you are and some fun thoughts. First one on my list is what is something on your go-to playlist that people wouldn't expect you're listening to today?
Oh, that's a good one. I listen to a lot of country music. Like, I listen to a lot of Canadian country music and top 40 country music, but something that's on my playlist that I don't know, that people might not think would be on there. I love Charlie Puth. I
Oh,
listen
okay.
to his album Voice Notes all the time.
Yeah,
And
I
when he
love his
releases new
music.
music, like I got an email the other day saying it was something like, "You're one of Charlie Puth's top fans. Like, we wanted to give you early access to buy his new single on something something. Like, first 2,000 people get it at a discount or something." And I was like, "Wow, so I'm a top fan. Cool."
Hmm. And he's actually touring, I think, now, or he's
Yeah.
starting to tour or something like that.
Hmm.
So I'm
Yeah, he's got
hoping
an
I
album
can.
coming out. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Same.
Next question I have for you is what is one thing that you think should be asked more in interviews that's not asked enough?
Ooh, I'm not sure. That's a really good question too. Oh my God, these questions are so good.
I try to have a few because it actually helps me. I am not the greatest at pulling up research and things like that. I have people who help me with that, but I
No,
try to have
all
some of these
good.
questions to boost my interview skills too.
Totally. A question that I was asked recently actually that I thought was a pretty good question that I hadn't been asked in a while was like if you could go back and tell your like give your younger self some advice based on where you are now, what would that be?
Okay, that is actually pretty good. I like that one. I'll take
Me
note of
too.
that one.
Write her down.
Little star beside that question just for later. There we go. Yeah, I find that everyone wants to hear something a little bit different. So for me, I'm not a musician, but I like to know how you're coming up with a song and how you're putting something together because like I'm a photographer by trade. So I look at the lens and I'm trying to figure out how to put a picture together that speaks volumes, and it's interesting to hear things like that from your side.
Yeah, well, photography is such an incredible art in itself too. Like I have some friends that are photographers and they're all so talented and I love seeing like the pictures that they take and they post and like the different edits that they do and it's so creative and beautiful.
It's definitely interesting, and it's something that I never expected to get into, but it just happened and
Mhm.
said,
It's
okay,
funny
why
how
not?
things happen that way.
Yeah. I actually got started because a friend of mine who's a hip hop artist needed someone to come take pictures at one of his shows. And I said, okay,
Oh,
why not?
amazing.
And yeah, just kind of went from there.
Perfect.
So my next question kind of actually pulls into the answer for your last one is what's a piece of advice that you were given when you were starting out that you've held on to tightly?
Ooh, a piece of advice actually came from a teacher of mine, and he said, no matter like where you go in this industry and what you do in this industry and who you become, always make sure to remember to be kind to every single person that you come in contact with, because being kind is such an important thing, especially in an industry like this, that you want to make sure you're being kind to everybody, being nice to everybody, and people that follow that advice and make sure to just not be a mean person, they usually find more success and they'll keep relationships.
100%. And people remember when you're nice too. Venue owners, security staff, all that type of stuff. They remember you as someone they want to work with.
Totally.
So yeah, no, that's a good one actually. Is there a piece of advice that you would give now with kind of the stuff that you've learned to someone coming up in the industry?
Yeah, I think the advice that I would give them is to just keep putting out music that you believe in and love, and keep working at your art. And when you feel discouraged, that's when you want to put like that 10% more into what you're doing, and it'll all work out even when it feels like it won't. You just got to keep working at it, even though it's a marathon, right? Not a sprint.
And they always say enjoy the journey.
Exactly.
hmm So my last one for you, and I think this is probably the deepest one I like to save right for the end.
Perfect.
Why do you keep doing music? Like what motivates you keep pushing forward with this career?
It's so exciting. I I remember when I was first starting out, somebody told me having a career in music is one of the scariest but most rewarding things that you can do, because when you look at jobs like becoming an accountant or something in like somewhere in healthcare, you have like you can see like your path in front of you and what you're supposed to do and the steps you have to take to get there. But with music, there's so many different avenues. It's like walking through an overgrown forest and you don't know what's going on, but you find your way anyways, and it's so cool. And so I don't know. It's just always been what I wanted to do. So I've never really given myself another option because I love it so much.
I mean, if it's in your blood, why not keep going with it?
Exactly.
hmm I think that's probably a perfect way we can end off today. And it was a great time getting to chat with you and learn a little bit more about you and your new single, Good and Goodbye, out today. Hopefully everyone's gonna go stream and play and throw that up everywhere possible.
Yay.
Is there any kind of
Thanks.
final notes that you wanna give to the fans, new and old, that might be watching and listening?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my music and listening and always being so loving and nice to me. It really means the world to me that there are people out there that listen to my music. So thank you so much.
That's awesome. And we'll make sure that we link all the links in the description when we put the video up so people can get a taste of you and your music and fall a little bit more in love with what you do.
Thanks. Yay, sounds good.
So we'll sign off and hopefully we'll get to have another conversation sometime. I'm always open to round twos and threes and fours and
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. It was so great getting to talk with you today. Thank you.
so you enjoy the rest of your day and looking forward to seeing what's coming up for you.
Thank you. You as well. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.